Da Nang versus Nha Trang. Which city is better to live in or visit? When you think about Vietnam, two coastal cities stand out for many travelers and expats, Da Nang and Nha Trang. They both sit along Vietnam's stunning coastline. They both offer incredible food, affordable living, and warm hospitality. But spend even a few weeks in each, and you'll realize they are very different places with very different personalities. Da Nang feels wide, open, modern, and calm. It's a city where digital nomads and long-term visitors set up shop, work from coffee shops, and blend into the rhythm of local life. Nha Trang feels energetic, flashy, and international. It's a city of high-rise hotels, bustling nightlife, and tour buses unloading waves of visitors. Both are fun, both are beautiful, both have their charm. But which one is right for you? I want to take you through the details, everything from food and cost of living to nightlife, neighborhoods, shopping, transportation, and the small details that really define life in a city. Along the way, I'll share some personal stories and examples, because often it's the little things that make you fall in love with a place or make you realize it's not the right fit. First impressions. When you land in Da Nang, you're immediately struck by how modern and organized it feels compared to other cities in Vietnam. The airport is right in the middle of the city, so in less than 20 minutes you can be walking along the sand at My Khe Beach. The roads are wide, the sidewalks relatively clean, and the beach stretches as far as the eye can see. I remember my first evening there. I dropped my bags at a small apartment, walked 2 blocks, and suddenly I was standing on a huge golden beach with the sound of the waves and only a few fishermen pulling in their nets. It didn't feel like a big city. It felt like a peaceful seaside town. But then you turn around and see the skyline of modern hotels, bridges lit up at night, and a bustling downtown across the river. That mix immediately hooked me. Nha Trang, on the other hand, gives you a completely different first impression. When you arrive and step on a Tran Phu Street, you're greeted by a wall of hotels and resorts that tower over the beachfront. The beach itself is stunning, turquoise water and soft sand, but it's packed with chairs, umbrellas, and tourists. The sound of traffic mixes with the sound of waves, and the sidewalks are alive with street food vendors, souvenir stalls, and music spilling from bars. My first impression of Nha Trang was that it felt like a resort city that never sleeps. Tour buses were constantly arriving, unloading groups of tourists from Korea, China, Russia, and beyond. It had energy, excitement, and noise, like being in the middle of a festival. Who you'll meet. The crowd in each city is very different. Da Nang has a strong community of long-term visitors. You'll find younger digital nomads working online, retirees renting apartments for the winter, and expats running coffee shops, restaurants, and small businesses. When you sit down in a cafe in the My An neighborhood, you see laptops open on almost every table. People aren't just passing through, they're living here. I once met a guy from Canada who told me he came for a 2-week vacation and ended up staying 6 months. He found an apartment, rented a scooter, and started teaching English online. That's the kind of city Da Nang is. It pulls you in quietly and makes you feel like staying longer. Nha Trang, on the other hand, attracts short-term tourists. Most people you meet are on vacation for a week or less. They're staying in beachfront hotels, spending their days on boat tours, visiting the islands, or tanning on the sand. You'll meet families, honeymooners, and tour groups. That gives Nha Trang a very different energy. It feels like a holiday destination first and a city second. There are long-term expats in Nha Trang too, especially Russians and Chinese who've built communities there, plus some Western retirees. But the overall feeling is more tourist-oriented compared to Nang's blend of locals and long-term foreign residents. Food and cost of living. One of the biggest reasons people fall in love with Vietnam is the food, and here's where the differences really show. Da Nang is cheap, incredibly cheap. You can eat a full meal for about $1. A bowl of mi quang, thick turmeric noodles with pork, shrimp, and fresh herbs, will set you back less than the price of a bottle of water in many Western countries. A banh mi packed with meat, pickled vegetables, and chili sauce costs maybe 80 cents. Even if you go to a sit-down restaurant with a menu and proper chairs, you'll rarely pay more than $3 or $4 for a meal. Because of this, I almost never cooked in Da Nang. It was cheaper and easier to eat out. I had my favorite noodle lady near my apartment who served steaming bowls of pho every morning for less than $1.50. By the end of the month, she knew my order by heart. Nha Trang is still affordable compared to the West, but pricier than Da Nang. Meals in tourist areas can cost $2 to $3 at the low end, and international restaurants can run $10 to $15 per plate. Still a bargain compared to Europe or the US, but noticeably more expensive than Da Nang. What Nha Trang has that Da Nang doesn't is variety. You'll find Italian pizza cooked in wood-fired ovens, authentic sushi, French bakeries with croissants that could come from Paris. When I stayed there, I ate at a Russian cafe one day, a Japanese ramen shop the next, and a Vietnamese seafood spot the day after. It was like a culinary tour of the world. Of course, the bill added up much faster than in Da Nang, so here's the bottom line. If you want to live cheaply and eat incredible Vietnamese food every day, Da Nang wins. If you like international options and don't mind paying extra, Nha Trang delivers. Shopping is another area where the cities diverge. Da Nang feels more local. For groceries, you go to wet markets or small family-owned stores. If you need something specific like an international skincare brand, you'll probably order online from Shopee or Lazada and wait a few days. There are malls, but they're not the focus of the city. Nha Trang, in contrast, has bigger malls and a wider range of international products. If you like wandering through shopping centers, browsing brand-name cosmetics, or picking up imported goods on the spot, Nha Trang is more convenient. I remember a friend of mine desperately searching for a particular face cream. In Da Nang, we couldn't find it anywhere. In Nha Trang, she walked into a mall and found it immediately. That's the difference. So if your lifestyle leans toward local markets and simple living, Da Nang is perfect. If you like easy access to international brands and products, Nha Trang makes life easier. Nightlife. This might be the clearest contrast of all. Da Nang at night is relaxed. You'll find beach bars with cheap cocktails, cozy pubs with live bands, and rooftop lounges with views of the Dragon Bridge. It's fun, but it's low-key. You go to chat, listen to music, and enjoy the vibe. I once spent an evening in a tiny bar where a Vietnamese guitarist played old Beatles songs while the crowd sang along softly. That's the kind of night Da Nang offers. Nha Trang, on the other hand, is wild. The nightlife here is designed for tourists who want to party. Rooftop clubs blast electronic music until sunrise, dancers perform on bar counters, and neon lights flash across the beach strip. It feels more like Phuket or Bali than Vietnam. One night in Nha Trang, I ended up at a rooftop bar where people from 5 different countries were dancing together, drinks in hand, music shaking the building. It was fun, exciting, and a little overwhelming. By the time I left, it was 4 in the morning, and the city was still alive. So ask yourself, do you prefer quiet evenings with live music, or high-energy parties that last until dawn? That choice alone might determine which city you prefer. Beaches and outdoors. Both cities are famous for their beaches, but the vibe is different. Da Nang's beach is long, wide, and relatively quiet. In the mornings, locals jog, swim, or do Tai Chi as the sun rises. Fishermen pull their round bamboo boats onto the shore. Tourists are there too, but it never feels overcrowded. You can walk for miles along soft sand without bumping into too many people. Nha Trang's beach is equally beautiful, but much busier. The main strip is lined with hotels, so during the day the beach fills with tourists. Umbrellas and chairs cover large sections, and vendors walk by constantly offering drinks, snacks, and souvenirs. The water is gorgeous, turquoise blue, but the vibe is more like a resort beach. Personally, I love Da Nang's beach for its calm mornings. But if you enjoy a lively beach scene with lots of activities and energy, Nha Trang is unbeatable. Transportation. Getting around is another factor to consider. Da Nang is extremely convenient. The airport is right in the city, only 15 minutes from most neighborhoods. The roads are wide and not as chaotic as in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. With a scooter, you can get almost anywhere in 15 to 20 minutes. Nha Trang is smaller, so within the city, everything is close. But the airport is about a 40-minute drive away. Inside the city, the main annoyance is traffic from tour buses constantly arriving and departing. So Da Nang feels easier and more efficient overall, while Nha Trang feels busier because of tourism traffic. Daily life, pace and feeling. Da Nang feels peaceful. you can build routines easily. A morning walk on the beach, coffee at a local cafe, work in the afternoon, a cheap dinner at night, maybe some live music or a rooftop drink in the evening. The city doesn't force itself on you. It's calm, balanced, and sustainable. Nha Trang feels like constant energy. The beachfront is always busy, the nightlife always pumping, the tourist flow never stops. It's exciting, but after a while it can feel overwhelming. I remember waking up in Da Nang to quiet streets and the sound of birds. In Nha Trang, I woke up to buses unloading tourists at 6 in the morning. That difference in daily rhythm says everything. Different types of visitors. It's also useful to think about what type of traveler you are. If you're a digital nomad working online, Da Nang is the better choice. The cafes are full of people like you, the internet is strong, and the cost of living is low. You'll quickly build a routine that balances work and leisure. If you're a retiree looking for peace and comfort, both cities work, but Da Nang is more affordable and calmer, while Nha Trang gives you easier access to international products and more variety in restaurants. If you're a family on vacation, Nha Trang is perfect. The resorts, the tours, the nightlife, the shopping, it's all designed for a holiday experience. If you're a young traveler looking for fun, parties, and international crowds, Nha Trang will probably feel more exciting. If you're looking for balance, Da Nang is better. Stories from the ground. To give you a clear idea, let me paint two pictures. A day in Da Nang. You wake up early and walk to the beach. The sun is rising, the air is fresh, and local families are already swimming. After a swim, you grab a bowl of noodles from a street stall for $1. You spend the morning working from a cafe with other expats, sipping strong Vietnamese coffee. In the afternoon, you rent a scooter and drive along the coast or across the Dragon Bridge into downtown. For dinner, you sit at a small family restaurant and eat kum ga for less than $2. At night, you head to a small bar where a local band plays acoustic music. You're in bed by midnight, relaxed. A day in Nha Trang. You wake up and step onto Tran Phu Street. The beach is already full of tourists, umbrellas lined up in neat rows. You grab breakfast at a bakery that sells croissants and cappuccinos. By mid-morning, you are on a boat tour to the islands, snorkeling in turquoise water. Lunch is seafood at a restaurant packed with travelers. In the afternoon, you shop at a mall or relax at your hotel pool. Dinner might be Italian pizza or sushi. At night, you head to a rooftop bar, and before you know it, it's 2 a.m. and the city is still buzzing. Neither day is better or worse, they're just different. Which one sounds more like you? My personal choice. If I had to choose where to spend 3 months, I'd pick Da Nang. For me, the affordable food, the peaceful rhythm, and the balance between local culture and expat community make it ideal for long-term living. Nha Trang, for me, works better as a short-term vacation spot. A week or two of fun, excitement, and energy is amazing. But after that, I crave the calm of Da Nang. That said, both cities are among my favorite places in the world. They each have neighborhoods that surprise you, quiet corners where you least expect them, and communities that make you feel at home. Final thoughts. So here's the summary. Da Nang, peaceful, affordable, digital nomad friendly, better for long-term stays. Nha Trang, energetic, touristic, international, better for short-term vacations and people who love nightlife and variety. Both cities are beautiful, both offer incredible food, both give you the warmth of Vietnamese culture. The choice isn't really about which one is better. It's about which one fits your lifestyle, your budget, and your personality. Some people thrive on the buzz of Nha Trang, others fall in love with the calm of Da Nang. The only way to know for sure is to visit both and see which one feels more like home when you wake up in the morning. And that's the beauty of Vietnam. You can have both experiences within a short train ride or flight. Peace in one city, energy in another, two different flavors of the same coastline.